The FPL 26-27 season is coming and I have some unpopular opinions that I need to share. Disclaimer, I am not an expert, this is just my opinion. Well, I say I need to share them, I don't need to, I just want to. I've got 5 hot takes for you guys. Number 1, it is about Gabriel, the 8 million overpriced defender who, by the way, isn't in my Game Week 1 draft, but I do believe this to be true anyway. I think Gabriel is going to score 200 points this season if he starts every single league game, or almost every single league game. So is this season going to be easier or harder for Gabriel? Well, he's starting without Saliba. Saliba didn't start 8 games last season, and to be fair, Arsenal rarely ever had their full strength back line, yet they kept 20.3 clean sheets, 19 clean sheets and 20.3 expected clean sheets. They still had some very good defensive numbers, and there was 8 games where Saliba didn't start. In those 8 games, Arsenal kept 3 clean sheets, which doesn't sound super promising, but you need to remember, one of those was game week 38, where the league was already won. 2 of those games were away to Aston Villa and away to Chelsea, where you wouldn't necessarily expect a clean sheet anyway. So you can give them some grace there, cut them some slack. And if you cut those 3 games out, just to make it sound better, so my point is proven more, that's 3 clean sheets out of 5 without Saliba. And that's just in the easy game. So yeah, it's kind of me just tweaking data a bit. But either way, their defence is still strong without Saliba. Yes, it's a little worse, but it's still pretty good. But this season will be harder for Gabriel to get points. The bonus point system has changed to try to stop DEFCON centre-backs, defenders, from getting bonus points in the same game they hit DEFCONs. I won't bore you with the details, but it basically means that they need to create more defensive actions or partake in more defensive actions to increase their score on the bonus points chart. So the players who get clearances, blocks, interceptions won't be as high on the bonus point system, which is basically centre-backs and maybe some CDMs. With that being said, Gabriel got 209 points from 30 starts last season, right? Even if his points, potential gets worse, if he starts every game, he's still going to be scoring very high and his points per game will be ridiculous. My reason for not having him in game week 1 is purely because I want to back double Arsenal defence, and investing that much in the Arsenal defence is not what I want to do. I'd rather go with Calafiori, Mosquera or Ben White, 2 of those 3, and that takes only 3 million of my actual budget, whereas Gabriel, costing 4 million of my actual budget, only gets me 1 Arsenal clean sheet every game week, instead of 2 Arsenal clean sheets I get every game week from Calafiori and Mosquera. Anyway, this isn't about me, this is about my hot takes, and we are going on to the next one. This time it is about Mbeumo. Now, I believe he will be in the top 5 highest point scorers in FPL this season. His non-penalty expected goal involvements were 3rd in the league last season, behind only Bruno Fernandes and Erling Haaland, who both cost a ridiculous amount of money. Last season, he didn't perform how he normally does after AFCON. He dropped off quite a bit. You could say it was because of AFCON. He may have just hit a run of bad form like some players do. But I believe he will be back to playing like his normal self come the new season, and if he keeps pulling in that underlying data, high expected goals, high expected assists, no one can stop him. The only issue is, in the midweek, in the second half of the season, if United get far in, competitions, Champions League, FA Cup, EFL Trophy, there could be rotation for him because Ahmad is good competition at right wing. If Mbeumo is getting rotated because he needs to play an important game in the midweek, then it's going to harm his point potential. So that's where I could be wrong. If Man United get to the Champions League quarter-final, which is maybe a 50-50 chance, Mbeumo may not end up as one of the top 5 scorers in FPL. But talking game week 1 wise, he has an amazing early fixture run. I think a lot of you guys should own him. I mean, he's 30% owned right now, roughly 29% owned. I personally think more people should own him in game week 1. Now, if you thought those 2 were outrageous, then I apologise for what I'm about to say next, but I'm calling it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin will reach 20 goal involvements in FPL this season. Yes, you heard it from me. He got 14 goals last season, 2 assists. 16 goal involvements in total and 5 penalties to help him there. His underlying data was high, 16.9 expected goal involvements. Very impressive numbers, and he's only costing 6 million this FPL season. I think it's a little too cheap. Leeds have gotten a lot stronger. Their team is good. They were mid-table last season. They should have performed better in the league. If you look at the underlying data, the expected goals conceded, etc., you will see Leeds were above average compared to all the teams in the Premier League. And while a lot of mid-table teams have been picked apart almost, Leeds have strengthened, and at the same time, Calvert-Lewin still has almost no competition up front. I believe if he gets several penalties this season, because he will need several penalties to hit this milestone, I think he will get 20 goal involvements. And for a 6 million player, that is ridiculous value, but only time will tell. This is probably my most outrageous take in the video, but I believe it to be true. The one thing I think is going against him is the fact he is a big chance squanderer. He really needs to be finishing his chances. Even last season, despite scoring 14 goals, he still underperformed the expected goals. So hopefully, if my prediction is to come true, Dominic Calvert-Lewin can just get a little better at shooting so I can be right. Now, this one is also related to Leeds and Calvert-Lewin. I believe Leeds will finish in the top 8 next season and go for a European spot. With the coefficients and everything in the Premier League being the highest ranked again, 8th place like last season, should be a spot in the Europa Conference League, and I believe Leeds are capable of getting there. I already talked about a bit of this just a second ago with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but Leeds have gotten a lot stronger while most teams around them haven't done too well in the transfer market, so Leeds are in pole position to pull ahead of some of the teams they were finishing near last season. Most notably, they've signed Muharemovic as a centre-back, hope I'm saying that right, and Harry Wilson as a winger. I don't know how they've managed to pull Harry Wilson, but that is a great transfer. He was a good player in the league last season, and there are not any European distractions. No Conference League, no Europa League, no Champions League. And some teams that want to push for top 8 next season are going to be playing in those competitions. I honestly think this is my least controversial take of the video. I've seen some people saying the same thing. Leeds for top 8 is not an unlikely scenario, but considering what they came up just 2 years ago, well no, sorry, 1 year ago. They've had one season in the Premier League, finished mid-table. Second season in the Premier League, they may genuinely go for a top 8 finish, so it feels weird to say. But honestly, looking at their squad and their underlying data last season, it seems quite realistic. Now onto the final hot take. It's another team related one, not super FPL related, but it kind of is. Sunderland to finish in the bottom 5. Now Sunderland, in their first season in the Premier League, came 7th against all odds. They finished what? 3rd in the Championship, came up. You had what? Burnley and Leeds, you know, 1st and 2nd, the really good teams to come up. Burnley were awful. They were terrible. They came 19th. They should have came 20th. Sunderland spent loads of money in the transfer market, made the right transfers, and they sit in 7th place by game week 38. The issue is, that was lucky. No matter how you try and paint this picture, I'm sorry if you're a Sunderland fan. Yes, you got Europa League football in your first season in the Prem. It is magnificent. I'm not trying to take that away from you, but I believe you will struggle to finish in the top 15 next season. Sunderland were 18th for expected goals in the Premier League, guys. 18th. The only teams they could attack better than were Wolves and Burnley, and that is not difficult at all. They made a lot of new signings, they had a big XG over performance, and the defence was okay. That's how they did it. But they've not made any signings. I think they've got one guy on loan as a backup to Mukiele, or Mukiele, however you say his name, while he's out injured. That's it. They've not signed anyone else. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I checked yesterday. I don't know if they've signed anyone since then. But they've got basically no one. Their team's not gotten stronger. This is because, I'm assuming they spent way too much money last season. They've run out. They're probably in debt. They can't spend anymore without taking a penalty. Don't get me wrong. They got 2 or 3 solid players. And when I say that, you know, you got Robin Rose in goal. You got Mukiele, great right back. And to be fair, Brobby and Enzo Lefebvre. So 4 really good players, because Brobby can really finish his chances. The issue is that as a team, they're just not that good. So I believe they will finish in the bottom 5. Anyway, guys, those are my 5 hot takes. If I haven't annoyed all of you watching this video, or I haven't made something you disagree with, then I've done a bad job. Feel free to drop your hot takes down in the comments. Feel free to disagree with me where you like, because I understand some of these calls are quite bold. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.